Swadika, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the official opening of Asean Sti Forum 2016 here in Bangkok. My name is Hani Cholapansanarula, very delighted to be here as your host. Science, technology and innovation have become important drivers of new economic growth, creating sustainable development in many ways. The National Science, Technology and Innovation Policy Office, together with the Ministry of Science and Technology, have thus organized this forum to be an important platform for policymakers and practitioners to come together to discuss STI issues and challenges facing the ASEAN region, and also to explore some of the potential collaboration to promote innovation linkages between ASEAN members and partners. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the theme of Asean Sti Forum 2016 is Shaping the Future of ASEAN and ASEAN Innovation. So to begin this morning's opening ceremony, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce you to the man of the hour, who is fostering STI for economic growth and also enhance social well-being. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the Minister of Science and Technology, Thailand, His Excellency Dr. Ph.รงคเวโรจน. A big hand please, ladies and gentlemen, welcoming the Minister of Science and Technology, Thailand.
Excellencies, Ministers, Ambassadors, Dr. Alexander Lim, the ASEAN Secretariat, who heads SNT Science and Technology Division, delegates from ASEAN, ASEAN Friends, ASEAN Committee on Science and Technology, distinguished speakers, moderators, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and members of the press. First of all, a very warm welcome for those of you who come from abroad, and we do appreciate your being here to this very interesting workshop. And when I browse through the program, I'm delighted to see that we have covered a number of item agenda that are very timely indeed, including especially the role of innovation for national and regional development, the financing part of innovation, new paradigm of innovation led by startups, education and learning led by STEM, as well as how to align our work both domestically and regionally, the free flow of human resource through talent mobility program, the role of our friends who are dialogue partners, as well as the role of the private sector in developing innovation together, and last but not least, the role of science diplomacy in all that we are here for. The so-called Asean Sti Forum 2016 is the first of its kind, and I hope that through our deliberations, consultations, and summary records, we'll be able to continue this kind of forum in the years to come. And I have talked to Alex, my good friend, that hopefully we can ensure that all the sessions during these few days of exchanges, dialogues, and learning will be able to summarize in not only what we discussed, but also into action items that will be useful to put forward the work agenda, not only the agenda for discussion in the long run. And we are going to have the ASEAN Committee on Science and Technology as well as the ministerial meeting very soon, I think in October. So what we discussed during these few days will be tabled to that very important meeting, and hopefully something can be done in action. Before I get into some details of how ASEAN is moving forward, as well as how my own country, Thailand, is moving forward, especially for the past 2 years. Let me highlight the fact that I understand that next year will be the anniversary of the half century of ASEAN. 50 years is a long time. It's almost entering the aging society already. So we have to try to make sense out of this kind of anniversary so that it will be something that we can leave our footprints for the next generation to come. And it's also important to realize that ASEAN as a region, we are about 620 million people, pretty large if you compare especially to the Asian population. And I think we are, as a region, also is the third largest GDP in Asia after China and Japan. And I think to be vibrant, we also see the 620 million population strong to be a very young population. I have a statistic here that more than 50% are under 30 years old. So if that's the case, we have a very good potential of having a lot of startups at least, because on average, startup is about 30 plus and minus years old. This year is also the 46 years of science technology cooperation in ASEAN. The first meeting, believe it or not, was in April 1970. Then there have been a number of dialogues and phases of partnership, including our partner with the first batch of dialogue partners. And I would like to recognize them here, and this was 40 years ago. Our dialogue partners then consist of Australia, Canada, the United States, Germany, and Japan. There may be a few more. And in that era, we were talking, even today, still relevant, the role of ICT, energy, food science, biotechnology, for instance. There was also this ASEAN Science Fund established in 1989 with the first ASEAN Plan of Action on Science and Technology, the so-called APAST, APAST, which was first endorsed by ASEAN Science and Technology Ministers in 1989. Today, we have gone through the fourth APAST in the year 2007. And today, we are now talking another phase of APAST, and we call it APASTI. The new I stands for innovation. So time has moved on, and there are a lot of new exciting changes, transitions, transformations that we have to recognize. Before I get into some nitty-gritty of APASTI 2016 to 2025 that ASEAN Committee on Science and Technology, or ASEAN COST, has been working on. And still, Alex, I still remember the time that I comment on ASEAN COST that if we want to do things faster and achieve more outputs and outcomes, we may need to consider changing the name of ASEAN COST into ASEAN Profit, if I may. Now, let me mention something about what happened in the year 2010. It was 6 years ago. We have achieved something which, personally, I think it's the first time that we see ASEAN science and technology in a very wholesome manner. And I'm talking about the Krabi initiative. Of course, it was concluded in the island of Krabi, southern part of Thailand. And many of us in this room participated. At that time, all high-level executives of ASEAN, as well as ASEAN science and technology ministers, agreed for the first time in a very strategic manner the Krabi initiatives, which, if I may, you can look at this chart, which we have been using for the past 5 or 6 years. The main thing is the identification of 8 thematic tracks. And if you look at them, you probably would agree with me that even though it was planned 6 years ago, it's still very much relevant today. At least 80-90% relevant today. Let me name all the thematic tracks because I think it's something that we need to scrutinize and seriously consider bringing all these wonderful thematic tracks into action. It consists of ASEAN innovation for global market, digital economy, new media, and social networking, green technology, food security, energy security, water resource management, biodiversity for both health and wealth, and last but not least, science and innovation for life. The underlying concept of what we agreed in Krabi at that time is that apart from these 8 thematic tracks, we also look into the aspects of how ASEAN science and technology can go through a very important paradigm shift in bringing science, technology, and innovation to the benefit of societies and economies of the region as a whole. And this involves 5 aspects: science, technology, and innovation, enculturation. We discussed this at length at that time because nobody at that time understood what enculturation was. And we had to look up the dictionary, what it meant. And now we understand more. Secondly, we addressed, and to this day, even the brand new APASTI also mentioned this, and that is to focus on the bottom of the pyramid in order to make sure that science, technology, and innovation is not only useful for the mainstream economy, but much more to be beneficial for the bottom of the pyramid of the society as well. We also recognize the paradigm shift in youth-focused innovation. And today, I think we all should highlight the fact that we have a new venue for youth-focused innovation, especially entrepreneurship and startups, which open up window of opportunities for our young generation. We also discussed and agreed on the green society. I don't think any of us would have any objection to this, given the fact that we are facing the world's climate change together. And last but not least, paradigm shift, so that every government in the region, as well as our friends, recognize that government alone cannot do the job. Public-private partnership is key to the success of science, technology, and innovation management and development. Let me also recognize, especially for those of you who are friends outside of ASEAN, that for the past few years, we also have been working on the new ASEAN Programme of Action on Science, Technology, and Innovation. And we hope to be able to bring it forward for the next decade of development in the region. Among the many goals and I believe there are 6 goals that have been identified in the APASTI. I have looked through, and I think there are a few more new items that we need to recognize in addition to what have already been elaborated in the Krabi initiative. And I would name a few of them. First of all, APASTI mentioned about grand challenges. And to my mind, grand challenges can be better reflected through what the whole world has achieved on agreeing in the Sustainable Development Goals. 17 of them, if you can highlight in the slide. SDG as well, please. I think everybody here get used to this slide already. And this is something that international community has agreed to work together in order to achieve all the 17 goals by 2030 together. And if you go through each and every item, you will certainly see at different degrees and intensity the contribution of science, technology, and innovation in all this. I don't think I have time to get into all these details, but please take a look, and it's something that we can start doing even from yesterday on, not tomorrow. We also have climate change agreement through the COP21 last year in Paris. This year is coming, COP22. However, every country realizes now that it is real and it is something that we need to provide a good mitigation and adaptation strategies to live with climate change that will be with us for a long, long time. That's the first item that I think is something new that the new APASTI of ASEAN would have to address. The second new item is with regard to the mobility of talents. And I think this is something that we can really try to move the agenda forward so that ASEAN as a whole not only will experience the free flow of goods, the free flow of trading, but also free flow of talents, especially talents with regard to scientists, engineers, and innovators. Last but not least, I can also observe the fact that APASTI 6 goals also highlight entrepreneurship. That is also something that's very exciting, very vibrant, and is something that ASEAN can contribute to at the global scale, our young entrepreneurs especially. Now let me talk a little bit, since I have the stage here, about the past 2-year experience of Thailand as examples of what we have tried to achieve, what we have gone through, and what challenges ahead that we are looking forward to take up. Last year, we have worked very hard in order to look into how science and technology, and especially research and innovation, can help Thailand in order to change the lifestyle of our farmers in the agriculture sector. We have gone through a number of turbulences, ranging from the fluctuations, ups and downs of price of rubber products, of rice, of tapioca, and so on. And the farmers face difficulty of not being able to control the demand of supply of all these materials, raw materials that we export, some of which as top exporter of the world. So we came up with this idea of using science, technology, and innovation in order to create values from these agricultural products. Government agreed, so now we are into the era of the so-called food monopolies. It has already happened somewhere near Bangkok, at the outskirts of Bangkok, with a very good logistics, surrounded by a large number of universities, industrial estates, near the airport and the rail system. And the idea is to try to transform our agriculture society, at least partially, into high-value food products. We are now inviting a large number of international food companies to join us. We have now engaged a dozen or two of the Thai large enterprises in food. And we have also indicated to our small and medium enterprises as well as food startups that we need to be together in a community of food innovation. So this is the food monopoly that has already been up and running at the outskirts of Bangkok, a district called Rangsit at the moment, in the vicinity of our Thailand Science Park. Secondly, let me also highlight the fact that even though it is only 4 or 5 months that we have carried out this mission, but we have seen a lot of hope and opportunities for young Thai startups. At the Queen Sirikit Convention Center at the end of April, we organized for the first time Startup Thailand conference and exhibition. And the organizers, me included, thought that there could be a few thousands of participants. It turned out that 36,000 came. And more importantly, we see young startups all over the place. It's the hidden gem that we have just discovered. And this is the new economic platform that Thailand is trying to push as much as we can. The past few months, we have empowered startups in other parts of the country, ranging from Chiang Mai, Khon Kaen, and lately in Phuket, to have opportunities to rise together with startups everywhere in the country. And we found a lot of quality startups everywhere, even though in a remote towns at the outskirts of Bangkok. So this is something very exciting, and it is innovation indeed. Thirdly, I talk about talent mobility. In Thailand, we have conducted a study about 3 or 4 years ago, and we found that this is something that can fill up the gap or the void where possible. The policy of the government at that time was to try to encourage, and up until these days, the role of private sector investment in research and development. The one thing that we found as stumbling block for the private sector to establish their laboratories, their research units, is the lack of capable researchers. We asked the question, where are capable researchers that can work with the private sector so that the private sector can create innovation, can create new products and services, and can export better. And we found that probably 90% of all the quality researchers resided in public universities and public research institutes. So last year we asked the government for approval of a scheme called Talent Mobility, whereby we would like to fill the gap of the private sector investment in research by allowing professors, researchers in public institutions to be able to work in the private sector even on a full-time basis, even for a year or two, regarding those time to be government service. Our argument is that how can we divide private public when the whole country is one? So with proper arrangement, today the Ministry of Science and Technology is acting as a clearinghouse to match the needs of both the demand and supply to work together through the program called Talent Mobility. And I'm pleased to say that today we have enjoyed seeing professors and researchers moving to work with the private sector. The last statistic that I got is 240 of them. And they also bring with them 157 young graduate students to work in the factories, to work in the corporations with them, some of whom are doing dissertation and thesis on site. Future recruitment is ahead of them. So this is something that we are pushing forward, and I hope we can do more in the near future. I have two more items. We also look into, and this is complying with what ASEAN has been telling us. We are looking into the partnership, not only public-private, but PPPP. There are 4 Ps in our vocabulary. And that is public, private, and people partnership. By people, we are talking about those disadvantaged, those in the rural areas, those who are at the community level. Innovation can also apply. And by PPP, at the moment, the 4 Ps, the government at the macro level has established the so-called Pracharat in Thai language, which is the PPPP empowerment structure. And there are 11 committees at the moment, ranging from Innovation Committee to Agriculture Committee. And believe it or not, these 11 committees are led by the private sector, not by the government, for the first time. So government people in these committees talk less, listen more. And both public and private are acting more in order to carry out, hopefully, successful missions for national development. And through PPPP, we also, in the area of science, technology, research, and innovation, try to incentivize the private sector to invest more and to do more in terms of knowledge generation, in terms of getting their products on par with national and international development. And we have done a lot. For example, for every dollar that they invest in research, they will get $3 tax exemption for their corporate income. We also have a number of grants, especially for SMEs, such as innovation coupon, whereby we will subsidize 2/3 of what they have to invest in innovation, and so on. So this is very exciting, and it is something that the government has paved the way for a more sustainable innovation development in the future, or the so-called innovation ecosystem that we are trying to do. Last but not least, in a week or two, the government will announce the restructuring of the whole research, science, technology, and innovation governance and management. It will be for the first time a chance for us to abolish all the existing committees that are not so forceful, that are not so meaningful, and come up with just a single national research and innovation policy committee led by the Prime Minister. So all of this is changing very rapidly, and this is just a few examples that I think I would like to highlight for your information, and some practices that we think we'll be able to maybe share and learn with our partners in the ASEAN communities, with our international organizations, as well as with our colleagues who are dialogue partners. Last item that I would like to speak before I end and open this forum, I would like to announce 3 initiatives which on this stage would be the first time of this announcement. And it's the initiative that the Ministry of Science and Technology in Thailand is going to work with you, not only our friends in ASEAN, but also our friends who are international organizations, our friends who are dialogue partners, and our friends in the private sector. Number 1, to drive ASEAN science, technology, and innovation for this fiscal year, we will earmark $1 million to push forward science, technology, and innovation of ASEAN. This may not be a lot of money, but we hope that through this determination and commitment, we'll be able to work not only with our ASEAN partners, but also with our friends who are international organizations, our friends who are dialogue partners, and our friends who are private sector on a partnership basis. Secondly, we will be happy to provide scholarships for ASEAN best and brightest to come to study at the best programs in Thai universities. And I don't know how many we can take or how many applications we will receive, but we will do as much as we can. And we will arrange for those institutions who are ready, some of whom are presidents of university in this room, who have already initially agreed that they can take the best and the brightest of ASEAN to study here at the best programs that we can offer. Last but not least, we have mentioned about talent mobility. So in order to jumpstart or kick off ASEAN talent mobility, we are willing to work with our friends in ASEAN, those who are ready to come, may they be university professors, university researchers, public research institution researchers, who would like to have a taste of how to work with the private sector, the industries in Thailand. We are willing to match you up with the private sector in Thailand so that you gain experiences hands-on, the same as what our 240 talent mobilities have went through in Thailand. And we have already a clearinghouse in order to facilitate you with this arrangement. All the details can be described to you along the way throughout this forum. Our agency within the Ministry of Science and Technology, especially STI, will be able to provide you with more detailed information. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think it is something that we have to walk together because ASEAN 10 and our partners are now at the stage in time of transformation, of transition. And we alone, any country in ASEAN alone, cannot be as effective as we would like to be. As our Prime Minister always mentioned to the public and tell his cabinet ministers that his policy is for Thailand to prosper, of course, but he would like to see ASEAN prosper in order for Thailand to be stronger. And for ASEAN to prosper, we don't have the luxury of leaving anyone behind. So through these three measures, I think the Ministry of Science and Technology is now ready to push forward the agenda of ASEAN science, technology and innovation. And before I close, I would like to thank all speakers, the organization of this forum, the moderators, as well as ASEAN Committee on Science and Technology Secretariat, our ASEAN friends, as well as friends from international agencies, our dialogue partners, for your contribution in this forum. And I now declare the ASEAN Sti Forum 2016 open. Thank you very much for your attention.